everyone. Welcome to Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook. It's been a long time since I've been on, a couple of weeks. Hope everyone had a good 4th of July, and everyone still has all of these attached. There's still 10 of them. If you only had 9 beforehand, then hopefully you still have 9, however many you had to start. But anyways, welcome to the show. Tonight, I'm just jumping straight into it. I do have on a very special guest tonight. She has been a outstanding audience member in the past and has given lots and lots of info and input. And tonight she's on as one of my guests, or as my guest for tonight. And I'm just going to throw her into the wolves, bring her on so she can start talking. And everyone say hi to Jamie Whitaker. Hi, Jamie.
Hello.
How are you?
I told you I'm part of the wolf pack. That's cool.
I know. So already we got people. Hi, Imani. How are you?
Oh, hey, Imani.
And then my wife is saying hi. So excited.
Hello. Yay.
We have a Facebook user that says hello.
Woo-hoo.
So I'm not 100%
Random
sure.
Facebook.
Could be William. I'm not really sure who it is. It could be Stuart. Not 100% sure, but I'm sure. Nope. Stuart already jumped on here. So what's that? Oh, it's Joe. It's Joe. That makes sense. Hi, Joe. Stuart, how you doing? Welcome to
Hi, Stuart.
There he is. Ghost Girl Amy. Is that our girl?
Is that Amy?
Is that Amy?
I don't know.
It's Amu, so I'm gonna go with it's Amy. Oh, yeah.
It says Amy. Yay! My sister's on.
That's right. You had all kinds of people jumping on already.
Yes.
So welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
I've always been pulling up your messages on this time, but now you're sitting on the other side of it to where now you're forced to talk.
I know, so it's weird.
It's weird doing this side of the house, isn't it? See, now you're gonna feel what I go through when I've only been doing this for 6 months. So first off, well, I got stuff going on all over the place. Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained right now. Yes, Amy, we know this. I actually was on there watching you earlier. So Ghost Girl Amy Schaefer, for anyone who doesn't know, she's actually at Randolph Asylum right now. And I will let you know that she's been doing a live or two from Randolph Asylum. So if you get the chance after we're done with this conversation, she's going to go live, go jump out there, support her, say hi to her, do all that wonderful stuff, and follow them as they're going through that stuff, because that is outstanding stuff.
Yes. I'm jealous because right? I would like to be in the field as well.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to be doing something right now too. But you've always been, like I said, in the audience, way over there, next to you on that side.
It's down here on mine.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, for me, it's way over there. So, but now you get to play guest. And we got to figure out what we want to talk about tonight.
Yeah, which subject? Because I'm all over the place with my stuff.
So let's do this. We actually have audience members. Otherwise, we'll just jump into our own things. But in the meantime, does any audience member have anything that they want to talk about?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just going to jump into things, and we have all kinds of places we can go. In fact,
you
know what? I'm gonna ask you that question right now because when we started off, I said I'm going to throw you to the wolves, and you said I'm part of the wolf family. So talk about that.
The wolf pack. Well, that's part of mine, and I've decided that I've been a closet shaman. I've been a closet everything because a lot of people don't. We've been afraid to come out and talk about all this stuff. So I've been kind of like a lot of people. Everything I've done has been to myself without sharing it and stuff. So, right. Oh, Melody, hey. So. Now it's like for me the wolves come in to some of my shamanic work, but they're not my power animal, but they come in a lot. And they've been showing up a lot lately, so I'm like cool with the wolves.
Right.
Usually it's I work a lot more with hawks and cicada killers. of all the weird random
of all the things
creatures. They're two of my power animals, but the wolves have been showing up a lot lately. So
So Nikki wants a more definitive explanation. Who are you, and what do or can you do? So
am a channel medium. I am a Reiki practitioner. I do Usui Reiki and angelic Reiki. I channel several of the archangels. I see dead people.
I see dead people.
Yes, I see dead people. I do automatic writing, remote viewing. A lot of us, and I am a shaman, a lot of us are all over the place with our gifts because once one thing triggers, so many other things
Yep.
go with it.
I'm
So,
learning that rapidly. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Starseed, I've got four placements before Earth
Yep.
that I've been in.
I have no clue yet. I'm still figuring that one out.
Yeah, you should. I have people. I have friends that could read that for you.
Stuart
All
sums it
my
up-
friends are woo-woo.
Stuart sums it up in one word: talented.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you. I will take that one. I do also like work with some of the darker energies, pulling like cleansing, and I channel Archangel Michael and Ariel and Uriel a lot to pull, and Gabriel and cleanse.
Those are the 4 sigils I have on my tattoo on my arm. Are those 4 archangels?
So, seriously,
yeah.
Raphael. I work with Raphael a lot to do like my healing work and stuff. Yeah.
So I have to ask you the question because I ask all of my guests this question. Yeah. It's my standard question. I have to ask.
I'm psychic. When I was born, I saw dead people.
When did you start? How did you start? What was your first experience?
I always remember seeing things and being told, it's just your imagination or whatever. But I've always seen, and I've always seen around people shadows or light, or I don't see aura colors, but you can.
I was going to ask you that.
I told you.
I'm psychic too.
So we had to vocalize what we're saying so other people can hear us. But from as far as I can always remember now, I took a break because I do have kids, and so I took a break for a long time and tried to push it down and just tried to be mom for a long time, and that was so much fun. And just in the last several years, it's really the activities really ramped up. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of gotten to where I just really had to jump back into it really full time. It kind of came at me. Like I didn't really have a choice. They're here and they're talking, they're chatty. And actually the automatic writing started because it got so crazy, so sudden. I started writing stuff down because I was like, I really am going crazy. So I was going to keep a list and a log of my trip to Crazyville. And then I started writing stuff. I was like, oh, now I'm writing stuff this isn't even me that I'm writing. And I started getting information that was relevant, and I could actually check the facts and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, hallelujah, I'm not crazy. So that's how the automatic writing came around. And
I'm really interested in that. I've recently, Nikki has been watching some of the shows on TV and everything else. Some of the more ones that I believe are more realistic and more documentary type, more along the lines of the ghost hunters and the kindred spirits, not some of the really off the wall ones that are made for TV. And there's people out there that do the automatic writing and stuff like that. It's really cool to see, and it's been kind of my new introduction to that. Is just watching people, and when you watch it, or at least when I watch it on TV, the stuff they're writing doesn't really seem to be words.
It's not always. It's not.
Sometimes it looks like doodles, but you understand what you're putting down, and when you translate it later on, you can actually understand what it was, and it's very interesting for me to see that. So I'm just like, wow, I don't. Yes, exactly, Stuart. That's exactly who I was thinking of when I saw it. Cindy Kazar. She was the one who was doing it, and but that was my introduction to it. And,
Mm.
and then I had on a guest before. I had on Lauren Moss, and she talks about how
Mm-hmm.
she does it as well. And now you're talking about how you do it. So it's something that I'm finding that I'm intrigued with, because it's something that I don't do.
They started, I even draw sometimes, and it's really nice. I'm like, that is definitely not something that I drew.
Right,
And some of the
right,
words that come through, it's like that I definitely didn't say that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I'm I want to stay channeling light code. I'm not sure. That's kind of a different one that it's symbols and stuff, and I know in my knowing that it's words, but I don't
Okay,
know what
so
it is.
I have to ask about that, because and the reason I'm asking is because this is so bizarre. I've never thought about that at all until you just said it. But before, you and I have talked offline, we've talked about the fact that I'm also a starseed, and you and I have crossed paths, we believe, in other areas. But I remember as a kid, I would just draw symbols. They meant absolutely nothing to me or to anybody else, but I just drew them, and it got to the point where I would repeat them over and over again, like for months. And but I never understood what I was writing. They were just symbols to me that were very
Mhm.
comforting to me, and very
Mhm.
very familiar to me, that I could repeat them over and over again, no matter what. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't know where I picked this up from. It's really weird. I must have seen it somewhere, but
Mhm.
I have no idea where that came from. So
You were automatic writing as a child.
yeah, who knew? But it was only symbols. It's all it ever
Mhm.
was. In fact, even now if I took the time to write it down, I
You
could tell you what
should.
the symbols would,
You
and I could
should.
show them what they look like. And to me, it just looks like a bunch of, I don't know.
It
It,
I, they resemble some of the angelic writing that I've come across. I haven't been able to find anything like it just yet. And I know that it's incomplete. I lost the connection
Mhm.
um, because I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I ended up losing the connection before I got them all, because it comes really fast sometimes.
Right.
And like the writing is really hard. So when I write, I try to get a real thick pencil lead, and that way my pencil lead doesn't break. And
Right.
sometimes it's real light though. Sometimes it's like a barely kind of scribble across this. So it depends on who I'm channeling.
Yeah,
Um,
mine almost seems like, to me, when I write it, it almost feels like I'm writing scientific, or
that's what it looks
almost like
like.
energy symbols or something like
That's
that.
what it is. That's what it is. If you
Okay.
put it in a circle, it would look probably more familiar if it was in a circle.
Yeah, because mine are always in a line, and I'm always like,
Hmm.
okay. And the thing is, I never repeat. I can repeat them, but they're not always in the same order.
Mm.
So it's really interesting but they're always they're. I want to say, from what I remember, they're always the same 5 or 6 symbols,
Mm.
always.
I have a
Um,
bunch of them.
just not in the order. So,
Mm.
um, so we can talk about. We have more time to talk about this too. But Nikki's bringing up another question, and I know what she's talking about. And if you don't remember it, I can help refresh your memory, because it's on a show that was just very, like, either 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. But you brought up a point, and when you actually came on for that brief time, um, she says, on another show you
Mm.
talked about your household growing up with using your third eye more than your human eyes. Can you talk about that and elaborate what that was like for you? Because you talked
Hmm.
about your mom being blind.
Hmm.
You grew up
And
with the
she
other
can
sense,
see,
but
yeah,
she was
she can
legal,
see, but legally blind.
right?
So we just used our third eye more, I think. I didn't see it that way at the time. But now that I'm doing some of the shamanic work, like looking into other types of shamanic work and stuff like that, because we study everything. Once you get into it, you want to know all you can know. And so it's like you just exercise that more. You just you visualize stuff in your head, and go with it.
Right.
And I mean, just today I was looking for something, I didn't know where it was, and I just pictured it in my head and went to it. So, but I mean, we would go around with the lights out and stuff like that because we all had different schedules in a little house. And so to go, like, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're thirsty, you would go to the kitchen and get a drink of water. You would just leave all the lights out. So you just
Right.
go in the dark, and
Right.
but you know where everything is, and things move around. So you just kind of picture it in your head where you're going.
Yeah.
And it's always there. So and she always, my mom has always been big on using our intuition to follow that gut feeling and stuff. So I mean, we just felt like it was I really just thought all women had that for the longest time,
Right.
that we just all could do it because we were all women and we could do it. So
Right.
I
Right.
mean, but we communicated with each other too differently. And some of my mom's family, we always were finishing each other's sentences, and I always just wrote it off as their family. You know, we
Right.
have that form of you
Connection.
just know each other, right? You just
All
know
the
each
time.
other,
It's just what it is. Yeah. Exactly.
right? But
So
it's not, I can still do it with like right now I could probably think real hard and my uncle Trey would text me. So you
right.
know, so we've always had that weird kind of, connection with each other. But
Connection. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought everybody could do it though. For a long
Yeah.
time I thought, sure, you're not supposed to see ghosts all the time, but the rest of it, everybody did that.
Right. And that's actually something I mentioned on the show a while back, is the same thought process. It seems like I'm almost following you, just years behind you, because Zhang was on my show a while ago, and she talked about someone walking next to her, and I said, "Oh, I know who this is." And Zhang's my friend over in Indonesia, and I talked about, "Oh, I know who this is. This is your dad, and this is where he walks with you, and everything else." And someone said, "Well, you can remote see like that," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, can't all of psychics?" And they were like, "No," and I'm
No,
like,
not all.
so my thought process was, well, all psychics can do that, just like you're saying. All women should be able to do this, and sometimes I still do that. In fact, I do it all the time because I don't know any better yet. But I'm like, what do you mean we can't all do this? I thought we all had the same abilities and stuff like that. And I'm slowly learning that we don't.
No. There are several of us though. I'm finding that my soul tribe, a lot of us can do similar things. So, and the remote viewing is one of them. That's actually, I didn't know I could remote view either until a few years ago. And I was forced to start and in fact, it was a case with Imani. She had to go bless a house, and Spirit said specifically I couldn't go with her. I was like, what? No, I know the vibe on this house and I need to go, but our guide said no. And so we listened. And so I had to do remote protection and all of that. That was the first time I had done that. And I was actually seeing the house and everything, and I was like, wow, it's not like like astral projection.
Right.
It's not the same.
It's
And
not.
I have a problem though. I don't know if you do this or not, but I have a problem. Sometimes I can't tell if it's past or present. Because sometimes I can. Sometimes you like if I will look down and the road is dirt instead of asphalt. So
Right.
then you know.
Right.
But and sometimes I can't tell if I'm seeing living or spirit.
And I don't know if I've had to do it enough to know the difference. The two times I've actually know that I've done remote viewing for sure, like dead on boom, was I had to go help a gentleman clear his house. I won't talk too much about the specifics, but he asked me, how did I know he was that? How could he tell that I was the real deal? And I said, do me a favor, go sit down. And he sat down. And I go, you're facing this. And he's like, yes. And I go, to your left is this. To your right is this. You're in a 1-bedroom place. This is what your bathroom looks like. This is what, and he's like, holy cow, how are you doing this? I even told him he had a bike in his room and everything else. And he was like, I don't understand how you're doing this. And I'm like, really? I don't either. Because it just popped into my head.
Mm-hmm.
It was just my way to enlighten him and to share with him that I knew
Mm-hmm.
what his concerns were, and I had to help ease his mind, saying, when I come over here, I'm not some, just Joe Schmo, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
trying to blow smoke, because I'm not charging money, I'm not doing anything else, I'm just trying to help. But I wanted him to have the understanding that what he was dealing with was real.
Yeah.
So that was the very first time I ever remote viewed. That was less than a year ago, but I was able to do it that clear. And then the second time for sure I know what I was doing was when I talked about a Zhang being with her dad. That's only the second. I remote view very much right before I go to sleep. I don't do the astral projection, but I'm really doing a lot of remote viewing right before I go to sleep, because I can see the areas very clearly. I can't tell specifically where they're at, but I know exactly what I'm looking at. I haven't learned enough yet with remote viewing to be consistent all the time. So
I tend to be shown whatever spirit needs me to see.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really what I want to see. I kind of let spirit show me what is it that I need to be looking at, because I usually have a reason. There's a reason that I'm looking at something, trying to find. I've been working on trying to find missing people, but I'm not good enough to, like, if you knew the area, if you're familiar with the area, I could tell you what I'm looking at, and I feel like you could find it. But for somebody to just find it off of markers, like, this is your street name where you need to be looking, or whatever. I've come up with street names too, but it's like, okay, well, this street is so long, so where is it? I need a mile marker or something like that. I haven't been able to narrow it down quite that good. With my remote view, I'm looking at some rocks, and
yeah,
that could be anything.
Getting rid of someone who's jumping into our stuff and trying to spam. So I was just in there blocking people. So, but no, it's and that's really cool, because I just that's an interesting topic, and again, that's very odd to me. It's very weird that. To me, it's very weird, but I have to stop looking at things as weird. They're probably, I'm assuming they're supposed to happen as they are, because there is a reason that I have been introduced to you, and it is, the weird part to me is how we have so many similarities, and you've been doing it your whole life, and I'm just learning. So, so it's kind
some of it has really ramped up. I've seen dead people my whole life, but some of this is like, just in the last couple of years has really shifted. And I know that the energy shifting, we all know that it's shifting over the last several years, is just like light workers are waking up and remembering and all of that. And so this is stuff we've done forever. We just didn't remember.
And earlier we were talking about your writings. I had a couple comments that I want to go back to, and Imani even talked about, I love how Jamie's writings sometimes come back for us later in cases, or future cases, and that's what you're talking about, is that those two kind of tie in together. And then Melody comes in with, cool. I remember writing journals like that too when I was a kid. So I will confess, I am horrible about taking notes and doing journals and everything else. I have been told I should numerous times, but I'm a guy and I'm lazy. So
I have a hard time keeping like a real journal. I have notebooks all over the place, because when it comes in, it's just like, okay, I gotta write this down, because it comes out better that way. Sometimes you get different information. So I'll have stuff written. I've written on paper towels and all kinds of stuff. When it comes in, it's like, I need to write this down right now. And so
my biggest problem is, like, Mike comes in when I'm sleeping, and I'm like, oh,
see,
I don't want to get up and do this.
Well, I used to have stuff come in all the time when I was sleeping. Like, I had terrible dreams. But now that I'm doing it when I'm awake, it's like, it's not trying to intrude. It's
Right.
not trying to come through when I'm asleep.
Yeah.
So I very rarely do I remember my dreams anymore. I used to have very vivid, um, they're terrible, terrible graphic dreams.
See,
And
my dreams are very vivid. I remember my dreams like I'm awake.
mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but and that's almost why I feel like I don't need to take the notes because I remember them
Mhm.
all. And they're very specific. Um,
Mhm.
unfortunately, a lot of mine seem to revolve around me. Well, I don't want to say unfortunately, but it always seems like I'm having to protect someone,
Mhm.
physically, emotionally, mentally, and it's always different people. It's always something I'm taking care of others with.
Mhm.
Um, and it seems like that's my common theme in my dreams when it comes to that. That's what I'm doing is I'm a protector. Um, so it's easy for me to remember because I always kind of seem to repeat them. I mean, not really repeat the dream itself, but what the purpose is.
The pattern. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Mine were just like watching scenes. Like, um, if I could tap back into that, I think I could probably solve some cases because it felt like stuff that had happened. Like they were very specific, and I was shown specific things that would be key things to know. And I never watched like scary movies and stuff like that when I was a kid. My
right.
mom didn't let me watch that kind of stuff because I did see stuff and she didn't want me to have nightmares, and it was like,
Right.
well, it's too late because I already see these things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Stuart's saying he's always fighting some evil. Yep. I know.
mhm,
I feel how that is.
mhm.
Uh, Amy brought up a question a little while ago. I'm going
Okay.
to go back to it. We just kind of ramble, so I'm sorry about that. That's the show. Um,
No, that's me.
Amy's asking thoughts on the Estes experiment.
I don't know who Estes is.
Uh, so the Estes experiment is when they cover your eyes and they cover your ears, and you're listening to comment
Oh.
through, and someone else is asking the questions outside. And so, like, if you were completely covered with ears and eyes, and you were listening to like a spirit box talk, and I am in another room and I'm asking questions, but the spirit is talking through the spirit box to you through your ears, and you're just calling out. Like literally, I can say, "What is your name?" And if you're completely covered, but you hear a name come through that says Amy, and you would just go Amy, and I'd be like, "Oh, cool, they answered that question," and then I can ask another question, and if they answer, and basically you just put out whatever you hear coming through the spirit box or whatever it is that you're listening through to hear the responses from spirit, and someone's taking the notes, and if it answers the questions, great. If it doesn't, it could be stuff that's either it could be just like erratic energy that's in the place that two spirits
Mhm.
are talking together or whatever else. But that's what the Estes experiment is. So
Hmm.
I
I
can give
think
you my comments on this.
I
Amy,
we had talked about this with Joe before.
so,
But I don't see the point because I talk to him anyway.
but not everyone
So
does.
I see.
So like, so for instance, it almost seems like every time on Kindred Spirits, they do it.
Mm,
That's what it seems like. And it's very good for them because neither one of them really have abilities. But it's a way for them
mm,
to talk and to communicate to spirit, which is really seems that
mm,
people use it for is when they can't hear or they can't just get the information readily through connection or anything else. It's a way for them to communicate with spirit through some form of communication that's available to them. Um, I like it. Um, I think there's an energy that comes through there simply because it is drawn. It does like using that energy force, the electrical capabilities, the energy, whatever else, to try to give answers through. Uh,
mhm,
you can hear them. I can hear them sometimes, um, but not always. And even we've seen teams use them, and they seem pretty relevant.
mm.
So what's up, Nighthawk? How you doing, brother?
Hey,
I'm like, that's a name you should know too.
yes, yes.
So,
So the whole crew's here.
yeah,
Yay.
it seems like it. Amy's asking, how do you keep yourself grounded?
Um, um,
And this is a good question because a lot of people don't understand they have to.
Yeah. For me personally, I do a lot with salt, like a lot of I cleanse more than grounding. I don't know, I just do. But if seriously, because it's just this is stuff that we've done so much, but I know that it seems to help people to do the where you visualize yourself as a tree. And
Right.
there's like a white light coming down through you, and it goes down into the ground like the roots, and it, so your roots go into the ground, and that's your grounding.
Right.
Um, I listen to music and stuff like that though, and I mean, I don't know. A lot of this is not. I don't have to use tools and physically, like,
Thank you.
things like that. Well, it just
I
happens
do the
like
same thing, but that's how I am. I'm like, I don't use crystals. I like how they look on
I
me.
like them. I like them.
I can charge them for other people, but I don't use them for
Hmm.
myself.
I don't a lot.
I
Unless
don't.
spirit says to use them, I don't. I have lots of things,
Yeah,
lots of
I will. I
bracelets,
will.
and now I do wear my Moldavite, and this is my little trinity. My Moldavite, Tektite, and Herkimer.
Okay.
Um, and I used to have migraines, pretty pretty heavy migraines, and I haven't had migraines since I put this Moldavite on.
Really.
And it's interesting because it is the most odd. It's not a crystal, it's space rocks, melted sand.
Right.
Um, it changes colors. It's black today, where it's, I don't know which one. It's black today, where it normally would be green.
The green.
So
Yeah.
yeah, my particular one changes colors usually when I'm dealing with a dark entity, or if somebody's trying to view me, or something is trying to view me or something like that. It changes colors. So
Right.
that's the one that has kind of got a life of its own. Other than, like, literally, it's still a living stone.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
it's the only one that resonates with me, really.
Imani's telling me that you are a selenite
Oh
queen.
no, I am the selenite queen. Um, yes, I have selenite all over the place, and now I have added novaculite. I work with novaculite a lot. Um, it is what the Native Americans here, the Caddo Indians, would have used for like their arrowheads and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I use it to connect with spirit of the land here. Um, it's also flint, so I think it's hilarious that I have flint stones.
Yes. Very nice.
um,
Do you name them like
I
Fred and Barney? Is that what you do?
well, like, I have some right here that they're just like little shards, and they really are sharp too. You'll cut yourself if you're not careful. Um, you have to watch it with those. Um, but like with tools and stuff, I don't use a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
I like them. I like their energy, but
Yeah. And I it's again, similarities are crazy because I will I only wear, so I'll even take it off for right now. But I have a Celtic tree of
Mhm,
life that copper bracelet that I wear, and that's the only thing
mhm,
I really wear consistently. Um,
mhm,
but I will find myself grabbing crystals on the way out the door sometimes, or bracelets, or whatever else. I have no clue why. I'll grab them,
mhm,
I'll put them on, and all of a sudden I'm at work or I'm somewhere, and someone's like, "Man, this is just blah 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 blah," and I'm like, "Hold on a second, I got something for you," and I'll take it
mhm.
out and I hand it to them. I'm like, "Just do me a favor and just hold on to this like for 15, 20 minutes. I'll come back for it. You let me know how you're doing."
Yep.
And I come back and I get it, and they're like, "Holy cow, that was amazing! What'd you do?" And I'm like, "Apparently, I was supposed to grab this for a reason today."
For you.
So yeah,
Now I work with my bells and stuff. Now I do have some bracelets that have little bells on them and stuff. Now when I'm doing my, like, usually it's healing work or something, I'll use those because you have other people's junk trying to interfere, so you have to kind of clear the energy, or their energy needs to be kind of cleared. So I'll use selenite or bells or something for that, rattles and stuff like that. But and I will use the selenite or um like quartz, just plain quartz, to pull entities and bind them, and hand them over to Archangel Michael usually.
Yeah. Well, William's saying, Jamie, I will send you something to protect you from everything. People hold it and they shake and feel the power. So
Awesome.
So there you go. So that means you guys got to get in touch and talk.
I usually have my guides. I are awesome.
Yeah.
My guides and guardians. It's not me. I don't go into situations with a lot of protection most of the time. So, but then I've started realizing other people need, and I have come across some stuff that was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
That I don't know. It's more the energy afterwards that I feel, whoa, I got to get rid of that junk energy. But as far as, because you never know when you're going to come across something or you're going to need to do, or so you got to improvise.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't, it's very odd because I don't, like I said, I don't use it. I have complete belief in what I see as my protection. That's my armor on me. And I put it, I mean, a lot of people use bubbles and everything else. I know some of you heard this before, but bear with me. Some people use bubbles and everything else. Mine is literally an armor that is skin tight. And it's because I want that spirit, I want that whatever it wants to do to get right here on me and do whatever it wants to, but knowing it can't get through my armor, it can get as close as it wants, but it can't touch me. And I don't have that fear. I never have. I'm one of those that go, yeah, come here, let's get really close, let's talk, whisper in my ear, type of thing, you know. So I mean, I know I'm too dumb to know any better, apparently, but that's just how it is. Yeah, exactly, Joe. It's a skin bubble, really is what it is. Amy's asking, do you use dragon's blood or sage to cleanse?
I do.
Okay.
I'll use them both. I'll use both of them. I don't really care for the smell of dragon's blood, but it works really well for energy cleansing.
So I have a dragon's blood sage. It's very odd.
I have used it. It was blessed. In fact, Imani brought it to me. I think it blessed Native American blessing something. It's been a while, but it wasn't just sage. It was sage and dragon's blood, and it was blessed, and I had to use that to help clear out some stuff in my own house. That is, I've only had something in my own house a few times, and it was before I really understood how to remove things really well and how to protect ourselves with ourselves, really how to do everything. And some of this darker stuff is pretty tricky. Like I compare them to dirty lawyers because they just find the loopholes to attach to people who are unaware or trying to do good, like the new light workers that are like put their hands on you and pull things off of you and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And they don't know they don't have to keep that stuff. So they bring it home. So you'll have stuff following. I even have seen a lot of children, things are attaching to them and following them home and stuff like that. And
right,
that's what this was. It's something came in that was heavy.
Yeah.
And then I was mad. Yeah, my dirty lawyer analogy. I was mad because I was like, how dare you?
Right. You're like,
how dare you?
What the heck? Yeah. Like, do you know who I am?
Well, I was like, how dare you follow my children home? you know?
Yeah.
And I asked for help and everything because I was like, it got into my home. So I asked, and Imani helped me with that one. So
yeah, and there she is. Yes,
it was very crazy.
Yeah. You do have someone jumping in late. This has got to be for you because.
Oh, hey, Dee. Yes, my people.
Yeah, and Imani does come in and say, "I love how we all see our protection differently." So yeah, I mean, it's very weird how we decide what our protection is, and not everyone's is the same. Again, something that you would almost think everybody would have the same process to protect themselves. If it works for one, it should work for all, is what you would think. But it's because of your individualism and what your past has brought you through that forces you to adjust to what you need now. Is probably the best way I can describe it.
And some of it is
in my head right now.
and some of it's who have you got with you? Your ancestors, your guardian angels, I know at least one of my guides is interdimensional. I mean, so you're not, and our own 3D beliefs. Like, are you Christian? Or are you pagan? What is your heritage, I guess, would be, because like I am Irish, Scottish, Irish. So I have a lot of the Scottish ancestors that are with me. So some of that I think comes into play.
Yeah.
Because like the same things that I would use won't resonate with somebody else.
Right.
Oh, I'm not gonna sage and that's witchcrafty or whatever. I would prefer holy water.
Right.
So,
and it's amazing how you just led that to that segue right to the question I had to ask. You're really good at this game. So I have a question.
Okay.
First of all, I have to tell you that Davey's saying, cute accent, so soothing.
Thank you. I think their accent is awesome too.
I want to give this shout out as well. I know Imani is amazing by how our Hawaiian Hauntings spoke greatly of Imani. So there you go. But the question I had was, so I'm trying to find the best way to phrase this. I have, for better lack of terms, been taught certain things by those who have attempted to help me. Still looking for that one, but for those who have attempted to help me, but then I see something like let's say I'm friends with someone on Facebook, and she's part of she's a white witch. Okay. And she'll post, well, for protection in your home or for cleansing of your home, do this. Have you ever attempted to use other people's or other sources of cleansing or clearing or grounding or anything else? And
I do all the time.
And have you found that it works for you? So
part of it is the energy that you put into it. Because energy is everything. And your conviction too, is it going to work? I mean, if you think that like holy water, if you think, oh, well, it's just water, it's not really, then you're not. It may help to a degree because it is blessed water. So there was energy put into the item or product or whatever you're using itself. But yeah, I love experimenting with different stuff. It's just because I feel like we're all connected, and if I can learn something from it, I can help somebody else with it, because that's their belief, that's what resonates with them. So I can say, oh, well, you're more into this, why don't you try this one? And
so just kind of have like that extra knowledge in your back pocket for
and
others.
Honestly, I think we talked about this before. A lot of it is the same energy, it's just a different word or a different, it's just the energy that's going into it. It just, we call it something else. So
William,
I love working with new stuff.
William is telling you, amazing, Jamie. I'm so proud of you for your humble, strong nature. And
Thank you.
Amy's backing you up on this, and it depends on the energy and the situation. So, and it's good to know, because I I have believed that I can use other sources as well to help in situations, but it's good to hear it out loud from other people as well, because there's some people who may be watching right now that just don't know, or that are going to watch the recording later on and they're like, well, you know, I've come across this, and is this safe to do? As long as I do it properly in the way that they're telling me to do it, or is the fact that they're talking about this totally just malarkey compared to what I'm doing now. So it's good to know that they have the options out there available to them based off the situation.
I will say there are some situations that are more specific, like well, Hawaii is a really super good example. Sage sometimes upsets the spirits. If you don't communicate with the spirits before you do it, and you're going into an area that's like, I wouldn't take a tea leaf into, say, Native American type of situation where you've got angry spirits and say, oh, let me wave this tea leaf around and I'm gonna, you'd make all the spirits would be mad. Right. So you wouldn't necessarily take sage into a situation in Hawaii where all you're dealing with is spirit of the land, and they're just upset about something. Right. Of course they're gonna be mad, and it's not gonna work. So sometimes it depends. Sometimes it you can't do some other methods, but generally speaking, if you were to take the sage in and say, this is what I'm doing, I'm trying to clear the energy, not the spirits, or, if you talk to spirit, communicate with spirit, and you can't evict everything. Right. And a lot of times you shouldn't. They were here first. You really, you shouldn't. Sometimes it's not even a negative energy. It's just kind of freaking you out because, you weren't expecting to see it, I guess. But, so sometimes it's not even bad stuff. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's for sure, because there's a couple things we've come across. I have in the past, and they weren't evil. They weren't malevolent. They just were actually trying to help the land more than anything, but they were intimidating and scaring the people that they were in the basement of. So one of my first ones scared me. It shook me up a little bit because it was so much energy, and I feel a lot of energy through my palms, and it was a lot, and it messed up all of my, because I was in my Highlander, and the little dashboard, all the computer stuff, everything, the radio, the GPS, everything went crazy, and I've never had that happen before. And it was like it was pushing me, and I was like, stop. Right. I see you. What are you, can't we just talk? You don't have to be so rude. But I took it as a bad thing at first because it was so pushy, but then it didn't try to hurt me. It was just literally pushing me away, like, get out of my space. Yeah. And so I ended up actually going back to the location and apologizing for being because I was kind of rude. It's like, well, I have just come into this, and it was a pretty big elemental. I've just come into their space. Yeah. And I'm like, I see you, leave me alone. But I'm in their space. Right. And that's exactly what mine was. It was an elemental that was scaring the girl who lived in the house. But the people who were in the house beforehand were basically home flippers. And they ripped up a lot of the floor in the basement, and they kind of unsettled everything. And they ripped a lot of stuff out and left it in a terrible state. So the elemental was just trying to fix the land, but the presence and the energy was just so overwhelming. It wasn't dangerous at all, but it was just so overwhelming that it made the girl feel very anxious. And she's like, I don't know what this is. And she was, but it's really scaring me. So I went to the house and I realized what it was, and we had our little chat. It understood what it was doing, and it wasn't meaning to, because it liked the new person that was living there. And didn't understand that he was scaring her. But on the flip side, I let her know
he's not bad. This elemental is not a bad thing, but please do me a favor and reach out to him. Or I just call it a him because that's how I see. That's how I saw it. That's what the voice was, and everything else to me was a male, dark, not a dark, but really heavy, deep voice. And it was just one of those that she takes him down. Like she takes plants down there now. She makes offerings and everything else, and she says now the energy's great. It's not heavy at all. It's not intrusive on her. She has no anxiety at all. She feels very comfortable with him now. So it's good that they had that. It's good that I went in there and kind of helped soothe it over because she wasn't afraid of the house anymore. So we talked about this lady earlier. Yes, Zhang, we talked about you. Hi, Zhang, how are you?
You missed it.
I know, but she'll go back and watch.
Yeah.
But yes, Zhang, we had you in conversation already. Not bad. But yeah, so I mean, it's true, and I have been. I'm gonna let Amy talk really quick right here. Some certain energies and spirits that are around you for support and protection. That's very true. I think we can all kind of resonate with that at some point because I think every single one of us has felt something when we have been in a dire strait that has almost seemed like it was there to help stop the worst from happening, or that car just missed me for a reason, or something along those lines type of thing.
I had a really crazy experience.
Well, share.
I don't generally have like visions that are in the here and now that are relevant. Like I'll get bits and pieces, but it comes in usually in codes, puzzles, and it's something weird. Like I had a dream I had a cat that was in like ICU. And then the very next day I got the cat and I had to bottle feed it. So it's not exactly usually the same. But I was driving in traffic and a split second, there's 4 lanes and it splits and you can get on the interstate or you can come back down and you can go this way or you can get on the interstate going that way. So generally the 18-wheelers will go get on the interstate. They don't come this way.
Right.
And about a split second before this truck comes over in front of me, I saw it come over in front of me and I saw the whole thing where I hit the truck and I go down through the middle and, so I gasped and literally like tapped on my brake, and just about that time he came over and cut in front of me. I mean, I've never had anything that clear that was actually relevant, know?
Yeah.
It was like all of the visuals that I get, they're not, I don't want to say they're not important, but they're not like, they're live or die.
Right. Immediately life-saving.
Right. I was like, that was the coolest. And I should have been scared, but I was like, oh my God, who can I call right now?
Right.
That was so cool.
Somebody.
It was really cool. I almost died.
Right.
But I didn't.
And I know why.
Yes, it was so cool. So that kind of, we've talked about like other realities, alternate realities, and shifting and jumping realities and stuff like that. And I wonder if that's what that was, or I don't know if we'll ever know, but that's like, I like to kind of explore those theories because it was crazy. And it was not like anything I've ever done.
Well, so I wonder if that's kind of, so I've talked before about the fact that I sometimes have a glimpse into the future about what's going to happen. And it happens to me quite often. You can ask my wife about that. Sometimes it gets kind of annoying, especially for watching things and I say what's about to happen and it happens. So I wonder if that could have been something as well. You just had that forward look, and you'll hear her yelling in the background. My house is not haunted. That's my wife, everybody. But I wonder if you had that forward look. Someone gave you a glimpse into what it was.
A lot of times I'll go for something before it's there, and so I meet it.
Oh, right.
Or catch the pencil, but it hasn't started rolling yet. So I'm reaching for it, but it's never been like really super,
Right.
like, oh, I
Right.
almost died,
Yeah, exactly.
but I didn't.
Yeah. And I want to tell people about it. Dang it.
Yes.
So Amy's saying I get deja vu. I think a lot of us do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's so many theories about what deja vu is.
Mhm.
And it's I don't know. It's a very broad topic about a very specific thing. It's very weird or very odd how that works out, because it does that. We all call it deja vu, but it could all be it could have many different labels, but we all call it deja vu, which is fascinating to me, because we all experience it differently, and we experience it for different reasons, or we experience it in different places. So why is it that we all call it the exact same thing?
It's a good general label that we have put on something to understand.
Yeah.
That's our perception of it is, so that's
Yeah.
well, it's like the shadow people and stuff like that we've given such a broad label to.
Right.
We do all experience it differently. We see shadow people differently, but it kind of covers such a wide range, because we don't have a set in stone definition of it, which is kind of part of the fun of it.
Right.
So
I have a question.
If we knew.
Do you know what this is? Like Hat Man?
Yeah. That's probably Joe too.
Well, this is Joe. This is Joe that's saying it. So Joe
I have seen the Hat Man that I've seen was like a shadow person, but he was not threatening, and he did communicate.
Okay, but is that a deja vu moment for you?
No, that was it was interesting, because I call them watchmen. I don't even call them shadow people anymore. I call them watchmen, because that's, in my knowing, many of them are here to watch and keep records for Metatron. They don't do anything.
My reaction like that was because I'm trying to remember. I am such a nerd. There was a TV show that basically had the Watchmen, and that's all they were supposed to do was to watch what happens to people and record it in history.
Oh, sweet.
And that's it.
It's a thing.
I want to say
it is a thing
for like the 80s or the 90s, but it was a movie that I used to watch, or a TV show that I used to watch.
Awesome.
And that's what they did. They had like protectors, they had watchers, and then it all revolved like around one person. But they were called watchers. They were called the Watchers, and all they did was take record of everything that was going on in time with every individual in the world. But they were never seen. They all dressed the same, and which is really weird, because they all had like a long trench coat and the wide brimmed flat topped hat, and they all carried around a little brown satchel. And whenever something happened with that person, they'd take it out and they'd write it down, they'd put it back, and they just follow that person. You can see them walking all over the place. But that was actually a TV show that was on.
That's cool. Now I need to know.
Right. Now
I'll have to look it up. Well, and Metatron is in charge of this is going into the records. It goes into the Akashic records. So this is where all of this information goes into the Akashic records. And I think that we all have different guides that we can talk to if we go into the records. You would have your own guides inside the records, because we don't actually physically go into the records. A records keeper will go in and get you your information, bring it back out to you, kind of like a library.
Right.
You get to check out records.
Right.
So all of what they're recording is going into the records.
Very cool.
So yes, now we have more tangents to go down.
Right. So Imani's saying shadow people are just as is, and they are shadows. Interesting, right? I mean, who has ever been attacked by a shadow?
And I think that often what you're seeing is something that is imitating a shadow person, or the shadow people that we think of are there to observe.
Right.
So we see them observing, and then we just automatically, that's what we think, they're the bad guys.
Right. Assume that. Yeah.
So right.
Yep.
So but I mean, he nodded and said, "I'm not here for you."
Right.
But it was not us. He didn't say it. It
Right.
was just a knowing.
Right. And Melody's saying this sounds like the movie Adjust. I would have said yes. I know the premise behind Adjustment Bureau, but I never saw it. So I know that's not the one I was thinking of. It was actually a TV show from when I was younger. So
See, we have so much to look up now. I have so many rabbit holes.
Right. William, my brother, good luck for tonight. I know you have a ceremony to prepare for. Much love, brother. Thanks for popping on, and I will be in touch with you soon. Amy's coming back with, I've heard of people saying that shadow people can absorb the negative energy to keep the positive energy going. I have not heard that.
Mm-mm.
So that's interesting. That's new to me.
I know that the ones that I've seen they have their own energy. It's not like ghosts.
Right.
Ghosts have to drain energy to, hey, Debbie. Ghosts have to drain like your batteries, and your lights will flicker and stuff like that.
In order to get that energy out there.
Right, to manifest.
Right. Yes.
Where now angels will cause your lights to flicker, but it's more of a surge because they have their own energy, and shadow people have their own energy. They're more like, to me, like interdimensional. I would say they just phase in and out.
Right. And that's how
rather than.
So I brought this up briefly last time you and I talked, and we didn't go too far into it, but I'm going to bring it up again because I want to not only get your opinion, but I want the audience to have a chance to chime in on this too. Some people believe shadow people are people who have passed, and now they've come back as shadow people. Other people have stated shadow people are just evil. They're not. They've never been human. They're just an evil force. And then there's also discussion, like you and I talked about tonight, just very recently, and that what is my belief is that they're from other dimensions. Mm-hmm. So there's so many different beliefs on what a shadow person is. And I'm trying to figure out, because Imani made a good point earlier, we don't get attacked by shadows.
Right.
So is what we think is a shadow person, but it turns out it's something else?
I think that that's just and on one of your shows where we were talking about this, I forget who was on, but it's just a description of their actions,
right.
A description of their shade.
Right.
Rather than a label per se.
And that was with Lauren. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that that's why there's so many different descriptions of shadow people, because if it's a dark shade, it's put into that category.
Right.
So there are a lot of, it's like really, I mean, an angel could appear to be like a ghost.
Right.
So, I mean, there are different ways that, different things that would fall into that category just because of appearance, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And Imani's saying, I've had several shadow people in my life. They feel like protectors. I'm like someone who is standing in between times. And Debbie states, that's exactly how I felt. They're from other dimensions, but travel between.
Let's see. But the thing is like, because I know both of these people, and we all work with energy. So where one person would see a shadow, I won't see a shadow.
Right.
I will see it for the energy that it is.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And Imani's bringing up, also don't forget, fear is the issue with all of this, because if you're afraid, then just like Jamie is saying, Well, then I'm safe because I'm too dumb to know any better, and I ain't afraid of
Yeah,
crap.
we're not scared.
So,
It's like, whoa, check out that hat.
like I tell people, I'm too dumb to know any better. So,
I was shocked. I had actually one of the times when it was because I didn't know they communicated. Actually, I've only had one time that I can think of that they communicated. And um gosh, the energy there was just crazy. And I actually had a dream. The land was, and there was so much going on, fighting and stuff there, that there was just a lot of negative energy there. And I remember having a dream that and I told you I don't dream that much anymore, but it
right.
was a for the lack of a better description, it was a demon crawling down the stairs, like at this place. And the people were moving, which was great.
Right.
It's like, that's the best thing, because I never had a good feeling about that house.
Right.
So the whole thing was odd. It was like he was there and there were all these negative energies there, but there were also guardians there. There was just so much energy in that area. It was unbelievable.
Right.
It was almost tangible.
Joe's saying that there's a guardian at Judd Trail, which is a shadow man, until he was pissed off. Then he was 10 feet tall with the head of a dog. So apparently don't piss off the guardian? I mean,
not that one.
Yeah.
Not that one.
Yeah. And Debbie, I hope you find this. She says, my good friends Kevin Malik and his wife Jennifer Malik did a lot of research and wrote an amazing article on the different types of shadow beings a few years ago.
Ooh.
If I'll find it, I'll share it. Very interesting.
Yes, awesome.
Very good. So I'd much appreciate that if you're able to find that.
Yes.
And Amy's saying that's kind of what I heard. Shadow people were kind of protectors, and that's why they would absorb the negative energy to keep the atmosphere positive to protect others. And I can agree with that 100%. But I think we have not. I think there are so many different things that are being identified as shadow person that if anyone knows, again, my nerdy side coming out. If anyone knows anything about weapons at all, like I do, a shoulder-launched missile, everyone calls a Stinger missile. But there's literally 18 different types of shoulder launches, and there's only one that's called a Stinger, but we call all of them Stingers. So,
well, it's like calling all the sodas a Coke. They're not all Cokes.
Right. Everything, yeah. Not everything is a Coke. So,
yeah. But that's what I'm gonna call it.
Right.
But it might be a Dr. Pepper.
You always ask, do you want a Coke? And someone goes, yeah, I'll have a Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Well, but you know what you're talking about. You referenced it as a Coke, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, I know what that is. And that's really good, too, because Debbie's coming in and saying Kevin was a paranormal historian, and Jennifer is a demonologist and a medium.
Awesome.
So that would be a great article if you have, Debbie. I would greatly appreciate that if you're able to share that out. Amy's asking thoughts on portals. Do you think that they're all bad? Do you think there's some good ones? Do you think that all of them that they are from different dimensions? Wow, words are hard for me right now.
It depends, because there are different kinds of portals.
Correct.
So
I completely agree.
And they're not all bad. The energy around you is what, generally speaking, is what's going to come through that portal. So that's one reason that keeping your energy clean is yes, exactly, Melody. Whatever, if you want guardians, because you wouldn't want to close. I have a portal here. If I want it open, I just open the doors because the mirrors are facing each other and invite all the people in. But I went through a phase where I thought I wanted to close all the portals in the house because there was so much coming through, and it was a lot of maintenance. It was so much maintenance.
Like a train station, just in and out.
It was. Yeah. And they were going through doorways and mirrors and but that was my old house, and there was like an energy line underneath it. And I want to call it a ley line because it wasn't exactly a ley line. It was something else.
They're different. They are different.
And I don't know. Okay, so you have chakras. The earth has chakras too. So some of those lines connecting to the chakra points, nadis or whatever. Anyway, it's like, but it's for the earth, not for your body.
Yeah.
This was one of those. And so it fed all of the portals. So to keep all of and it's still doing it, but I don't have to maintain it. I just kept the energy clean. So that's where the guardians would come through there that way too. If I closed it, which I did accidentally close one time. I didn't mean to. I moved a mirror out of the bathroom. I did kind of, but then I didn't realize what I was doing. I moved a mirror.
Just so you know, that's me every day. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's like, oops. So I hung something else up and it would bump on the wall. It's like you can see this picture hanging there, bumping on the wall, because I didn't want the reflection, so that you would have a portal in the bathroom, because we were seeing crazy stuff in the mirrors, and it was scaring the kids. So I moved the mirror out, the little one, and then so I had to bring it back in and tell the spirits, okay, because I locked them out of their portal. And they were not happy with the picture that I had put up there. So I had to bring the mirror back in and like say, okay, this is what I'm doing. And I'm like, I'm talking to a freaking mirror. Yeah. Okay, come on through, and this is your chance. But I mean, I just saw it out of the corner of my eye at first, and then I would see it in the mirror behind me, just like, there's nothing. There's literally a wall like this, and there's a shower on this side, there's a toilet on this side. There's nothing touching that, and the mirror, the little picture was sitting there just popping its little self out.
Everything's so used to going through it, now they're just hitting their head on a wall.
Like, and they're like, yeah, that's what I had envisioned in my head. Like, I'm sorry.
There's a door right here.
So I had to actually let say I'm sorry and let that back open. And
and like you said, there's so many different portals for so many different things. I know before the show we talked about this. You're not really a big cryptid person, but there's a belief, and I don't know how else to describe it, but that stuff, like some of the cryptids are interdimensional. They come through portals.
And I'm fascinated with that, because I think that too, because I have not been very big into them, but that's my feeling.
Yeah, and that's mine too. Which is funny because next week I actually have on a cryptid hunter, so you may want to make sure you're in the audience.
Oh yeah, was she the one that was on Nighthawk's show the other day or something?
Jessica Jones.
I think so.
Yeah, she was. I think so. Yeah, she's gonna be on my show next week. On next Monday.
Awesome! Yay!
So, yes. Zhang. Oh. I had ever attached by spirit who died tragically in a car accident. Near the 40th day of her death, I was possessed, and a witness who held my hand at the time said that my body smelled like incense. And when I lay down with eyes closed, I saw my body was the corpse, and many people around me praying for me at a funeral home. Interesting. So, what were you seeing? Were you seeing the actual death of the person, or were you, again, I'm wondering if this might have been a portal into looking into what was happening, or something along the lines of a remote viewing or something like that.
Well, if she was, this was probably a physical actual possession, because it stepped in, she was seeing it,
right?
It would depend on the point of view, because like when I remote view, I literally, it's like watching a movie,
right?
Just watching it. I'm not watching it from a person's point of view or like an animal's point of view or anything like that. I'm just watching it like it's a movie. Where if it were, and I know people can step into other people, and spirits can step in, and it's like seeing it through the eyes of the person that was in that place at that time.
And that's what I'm wondering, because her last part, when she says, when I laid down and with my eyes closed, I saw my body was the corpse, and many people around me praying for me at a funeral home. So I almost don't want to call it a possession, but I almost want to see it like literally looking through someone else's eyes, through someone else's eyes. But I almost don't want to call it a possession.
Yeah.
I don't know the best term for it.
I know with one of my remote viewings, I was actually brought to a place. I was taken to a couple of different places actually. By I wouldn't know what to call it. It wasn't a spirit. It definitely wasn't a spirit. It was definitely bigger than a spirit. But I was shown different things and like led there.
So Joe's saying a medium who gets messages via possession like trances. So, but it happened when she was in a, well, no,
Yeah.
it happened. It was really weird because it was so late. It was so much. Well, you know, and that very well could be because now let me reattach this. Let me reattach this message. Never attached by spirit who died tragically in a car accident, but near the 40th day of her death, she was possessed, and a witness who held my hand at the time said that my body smelled like incense. So I am wondering if that what Joe is saying is probably something along those lines, is because it probably took that amount of time, like the 40th day, for that spirit to possess enough energy and learn enough from the other side to be able to show someone who could recognize it, this is what happened. So that may be because we know that when people instantly die and move over and wherever they go, they have a new set of rules they have to learn. And it takes time for them to build the energy, which is why a lot of times when people just pass over, you don't get a message for them right away. Is because they're still learning how to do that. So if this was the 40th day of her death, maybe she finally was able to produce enough energy or do enough. And Ajang has abilities. She just, you know, and I think maybe that was just the way that that person introduced it to her, is my thought. And I must be on the right line because she's saying that she's agreeing. So, and even Melody calling it remote channeling.
And see, that's what I was doing ish, but then it shifted into something else. I was channeling and remote viewing, and then it shifted into being shown something. So I was still remote viewing, but being led to it. So it was unusual. It was just, but I guess if you start with one thing, you don't necessarily have to continue on doing the same. You know, it could shift into other things using the abilities that you have. So, so she may have been shown how to remote view if you don't know.
I posted this up there. I will, after the end of the show, I will grab this and I will actually post it to my webpage as well, or to my Facebook page as well.
Awesome.
So everyone can get to it. Thank you, Debbie, for grabbing this. I greatly appreciate it. But I have this in my messages now. If you want to go back in this recording, you can always see my messages. But when I'm done, I will make sure I copy and paste this out to my Facebook page, to the page upstairs right here, stuff I never learned from a school book, so you guys can get out to it. And you can go grab that from there as well. So that way, everything that cool stuff that Debbie's talking about, we can all go read it and learn from it. So cool stuff. Thank you, Debs. I'll be sure to post that out there. So, and then Imani, sometimes spirit takes over like you were on the movie Ghost, and you're allowed to give the message as the deceased versus yourself.
That's true. That's true. I know I can be a channel medium, and I can be a trance medium.
And Joe's saying,
so it does come differently sometimes.
And Joe's saying, I feel the 40 days, a traditional waiting period where they attend to unfinished business. Has this happened before or again, Ajing? So, Ajing, you have a question you have to answer now. See, that's what happens to an audience member. You get tied into these, and you have to come answer questions. Debbie did say that she tagged you in the original post shared, just in case you can't grab it from the live stream chat. So perfect. So they'll be able to grab it from you, wherever you send it out to, and then where I send it out.
I'll post it everywhere.
I will too. I'm linked to like, I don't know. I started off with like 7 places I posted to. Now I posted like 17. I don't know how it happened. People are dumb enough to let me advertise, so I'm going to keep doing it. But I'll make sure I throw it to everybody I have access to as well, so everyone has a chance to read this, because I think it would be a really great article to share with everybody. So
yeah.
But there's so many things I want to talk to you about, and there's just not enough time in a day.
We're always adding to it and that's part of the fun of it, and part of why we connect, I think, with so many different people, is because we are learning. Like,
Right.
I do these things, but other people do them. Other people have done them a different amount of time in a different way, and learning. And
it's funny because I do these shows once a week, but every single week it's a new learning experience for me. So audience member, don't take this wrong the way I'm about to say it, but I'm going to say it the way I'm going to say it. I do my show twofold. I do it because I want everybody the opportunity to share their gifts. I want everybody to have a platform where they can talk to. And it introduces new people who are learning about their stuff, like me, a place to go to. But selfishly, here's the part that people might take wrong, but don't get wrong. I have you people on so I can learn. So I'm gonna use you for my own purposes. So, but yes, but Debbie says it right there. She says we're all teachers and students for each other at all times.
Yes.
Yeah, and Amy's saying that when she gets stuff, usually messages come to her like a Polaroid snapshot. Ajang has
like a Polaroid picture.
Right. Ajang came up with the answer. She said, yes, there's a traditional period about the 40th day, Joe, especially a Muslim and Indonesian traditional, and it has happened before. Oh, well, there you go. So
very cool.
So, good question, Joe. And great answer, Ajang. So I'm glad we tied that together. But yes.
See, we're learning.
Again, that whole learning thing.
Yeah.
Amani's saying that she's saying the song at the same time. And I will let you know that I'm pretty sure my wife did too, because I heard her laugh when she started singing it. So I'm pretty sure she did too.
We're all, it's because
we're
psychic.
Well, I will let you know that way, way, way up at the beginning of my message stream over there, when I claimed to be psychic, in the nicest way possible, Joe told me I only got the first 5 letters correct, and he added an O at the end of it, so he called me psycho instead of psychic. So, hey, it's a fine line, Joe. I mean, it's a fine line. Stuart, there you go. So, yeah, Stuart's the one calling me out on that. So, and someone mentioned way up at the top, I think it was Joe. Hold on, I got a long way to scroll. Joe, I don't know if you want to go into this conversation. I don't know how much time you have. Like I said, my show is endless. We can talk as long as you want. But I know this would be a huge topic for us. So I don't know if you want to do it this show or if you want to do it next show.
Wow.
Yes,
of course we are. Of course we are.
So, Joe, I think I'm going to save that because I definitely know I'm having Jamie on again if she's brave enough to come back on again. But I don't want to stop this conversation. I want to talk about more. But now that means I have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the messages, which takes a while. See
me scrolling.
Joe's coming back with what's up, and then he says that his Bluetooth keeps cutting off. So apparently, Joe, you're done listening. You're actually supposed to be working, so get back to work. Calling him out. Oh, let me do this really quick because I haven't done this at all during the whole show. Holy crap. See, squirrel moments all over the place. I am so bad at this game today. It's the 2 weeks off, I swear. Right now, I do want to share this out with everybody. Go right down here. Look, see this person over there? And see this down here? That's the same thing. So go, if you want to go talk to her and see what she does, go down to that place right there. Or call that number over in that corner there. Or right at the bottom over there. So Jamie Whitaker, Facebook.com/red-ribbon-spirit-work/ a bunch of numbers. Or what you really could do, which is really, really simple, is just log into Facebook and type in Red Ribbon Spirit Work. It pops you right to her. You don't have to worry about all the numbers. And on that page, if you don't have the ability to write down this phone number and you don't memorize it, if you go to that page, that phone number is on there. So you can go there and you can contact Jamie. She talks about everything she does on the page. And if you were a very good, diligent audience member, you would have read my post that I posted originally that told everything that she did. But it's repeated out on her Facebook because I stole stuff from Facebook. Sue me, I don't care. But you can go out and find out what she does. She actually does this for people live. She talks about everything she does out on her Facebook site. She advertises what she does out there. If you have questions, you can reach out to her. Obviously, since she posts her phone number and tells you to text or call, you can ask her questions about if she's able to do this and this to help you or whatever else. And I would advise people to do that. And even if you're just curious about some stuff that you want to know about your life, she has the ability to look into sections of that as well to help you. I'm reading all that, and I have 7 new comments. So, Amy's leaving us. She's acting like she's
go have fun
on an investigation at Randolph Asylum or something. Whatever. If you weren't here at the beginning, let me tell you again. Amy is actually out doing an investigation right now at the Randolph Asylum. She'll probably go live again. She was live earlier. Please go watch some of that when you're done here and go support her and all that wonderful stuff, because that's kind of cool to watch. You'll never know what you might just accidentally see while she's on live. So thanks, Amy. Much love. Appreciate it.
Me again.
And Nikki's saying Jamie's like me, sings a song when she hears a phrase. Yep.
We speak music.
And Imani's doing the same thing. And Debbie's saying you guys do the same thing. For me, it's movie quotes, just so everyone is aware.
I do that sometimes too, random stuff.
I do it all the time. It drives my wife. Or TV quotes. If I know it, or even if it's relatively close, I'm going to turn it into something that I've seen on a TV or a movie, just like you did with the song. But I also wanted to go out to the second one, Hawaiian Hauntings. Jamie is active in this as well, and Joe has given me permission to post this, so I am doing this. Thank you, Joe, for allowing me to post this. Same thing. See that really long number at the end of it way over there? If you type in this funny little 2-phrase word here called Hawaiian Hauntings in the beginning, it will get you to the Facebook site. The Hawaiian Hauntings is a private site. So you may, if you want to know more about it, get a hold of Joe, ask for permission to come on. I think it's going to depend on what Joe's mood is, if he really wants to let you in or not.
You just got to answer the questions.
Right. Just answer the questions and just make sure you answer them correctly.
There's no right or wrong answer, except for the first one. Like, are you going to be respectful? Are you going to be Punohu? Yes. You have to say yes. If you say no, we are going to decline you.
See, and I was surprised I got in because my answers were purposely wrote sarcastically just to see what would happen. And it's only because I already knew you, which is why I wrote them that way. But yes, and they were dumb enough to let me in. So God knows how who they'll let in now. Jesus, that's your own fault. So for letting me advertise. Joe's saying, that is so good. I'm sorry. I was reading one of Joe's comments, and then I went ahead and saw Melody, so I got to jump into Melody. She says, I don't have to explain my art to you, Warren, from Empire Records. Correct. So, again, see, you people are squirrel momenting me all over the place. Thank you so much. And Joe just says it's whatever Jamie tells me to do. So, and Nikki just says, I tried to get into Hawaiian Hauntings. So,
just now? Hold on.
That's my wife. So,
I can't do it right now. Sorry.
That's me. Oh my God.
I was gonna be sarcastic and let you in right now, but hold on.
Yeah, I had to wait. So
that went all wrong. I know somebody that can get you in.
If you only knew a person, right? Hey Nikki,
or 2 or 3.
Nikki, I heard for $20 you're in, so just saying.
I have PayPal.
Joe's like, wait a minute, how am I not getting in on this money thing?
I don't think Joe likes money. He likes helping people for free. So he's working on a nonprofit. He would like to help people for free.
Debbie, I do this all the time. I actually say it out loud all the time. I'll be doing something like squirrel. And yeah, it's so bad because that is so me.
Oh no, we've adopted one of our new power animals is the squirrel Oscar, the squirrel god. Oscar.
Nice.
Joe probably just did it.
There it was. Got her.
Joe did it.
Yep, Joe got her.
Oh, you were approved by the admin.
Right.
The founder.
The original Hawaiian haunting. So yeah, so I know that we all do it. I think that it's amazing how simply a statement like squirrel has become such commonplace.
And everybody understands it.
Right. Everyone knows.
They don't even have squirrels in Hawaii.
And they still know it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's amazing. It's stupid how comments like this get picked up so fast. And everyone understands it. To me, it's along the same lines of one of the Facebook things I've seen where it shows old hieroglyphics and it says this is how we used to write language. Now it shows all the emojis and it says the new form of language, and it's the same thing.
I think I just posted that again the other day too because it's one of my favorites.
Right? Short attention span theater. Well, yes, I agree. I'm actually going to try to go back to a topic. It's crazy. I know, weird, huh? Oh my goodness. See, now I got to share this one too. I swear I'm going to go back. Nikki said, my numerologist let me know I'm a 5. It's in my nature to squirrel. So.
Apparently, since I am a 33-6, I have like so much I should be doing with my life. I'm a master number. I have work to do.
I don't even remember what my stuff was. I had the numerologist on here. Yeah,
she was awesome.
Dana Ucamp was on here, and she was the numerologist that I had. She was fantastic. She's actually local to me, but the time I was supposed to go see her, I wasn't feeling all that great, so I decided to hedge my bets against getting her sick, and I decided not to go. But when we first talked, before I brought her on the show, she was kind of doing my number reading and stuff like that. I don't remember. I remember everything, but that I don't remember.
What she was talking about it was a lot deeper than what I found on numerology too. Like I knew I was a 6. I didn't realize I was a 33-6.
Yeah.
But you can read it you can Google it, but when she went really into detail.
She goes
and it
really
was right on too.
Yeah.
She was spot on.
Yeah, she goes really into it. If you actually reached out to her and got a full reading, it's like an hour and a half. It's very, very, oh goodness, in depth. It's like you're like, did you just read my entire life readings? Did I leave that book laying around somewhere? Where did that come from? So yeah, it's one of those. Nikki had hers done, and awesome. She was amazed by what it came through. Debbie is asking, I would love to learn more about trance channeling. If Jamie could speak on that.
I sort of fell into that because I was channeling already, and I sort of started doing it. I think part of when I started doing it, I was just comfortable enough with my guides and guardians to let stuff come through. So I usually try to write what I'm doing if I can, but it seems like I'm just on with or I can type a lot and I just let it come through. It's not like a trance, like I can still type, but I don't remember what I'm saying when I'm trance channeling.
Right.
So I have to have either some kind of log of what I was doing when I'm doing that. And it took a long time for me to be comfortable enough with, because you're letting something step in and come through you. So it took a while to be comfortable enough to do that. But I I think that if you could channel, I really think that you could, just about anybody could get to the point where they could channel.
And that's what she's saying. She says she had it happen to her once,
Mm.
quite on accident, but she'd like to do it with more purpose.
I don't really know when it's going to happen. I don't know who's coming through to bring me that strong of a connection.
Yeah.
But it happens a lot now. More often than it used to, for sure. But it is being comfortable with my guides and guardians that when it's going to happen, I can just let it flow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I laughed because Joe says trans texting too.
I do.
I get in the middle of the night text from her and she has no memory of it. So yes.
I do. and I don't use emojis when I'm doing that. I talk, anybody that's chatted with me in text knows I use excessive amounts of emojis.
Right.
And
I know this now, so it's amazing.
But when I'm channeling, I don't use emojis.
I even told,
or periods or commas or
all grammatical stuff goes up. No, it's just text. It's like one long word and people have to write lines in between where the actual words should separate out.
And I'll write words I don't know, like not Aramaic. I forget. I'm not always writing English. It's not always English.
So he states that's how he knows it's not you. Yeah, I even had to explain to Nikki, or I even told Nikki that I didn't have to explain to her. I told her because when I sent you the link to come onto here, and you wrote back "cool beans," and you gave me an emoji, beans, a smiley face, and a heart, and I told her she even used the emojis to explain what she just said. That's amazing. It's like I got it twice.
Yeah.
Hey, I understand why you do that. We talked about it earlier. Some people don't know how to read words; they only know how to read emojis. So you're giving me a translation of what you're saying.
Well, and I don't feel like you get the full energy of what I'm saying because it's text. So I'm so glad they invented emojis. That helps me because I don't know. I can feel what people are saying oftentimes because it's an empathy thing.
Right.
But I feel like everybody should feel this energy. So.
And you got so tired of doing the old :/right hyphen for just for a smiley face. So yeah.
I skipped a lot of that in my because I didn't do the pager thing.
Oh yeah.
I missed that.
You didn't really miss anything. You didn't miss it at all. Nope. So I was part of that era and that was terrible.
I mean, I had a pager for a minute, but nobody was going to page me. So I didn't do all the fun little code pages. And
stuff. Yeah, the little 911s and everything else and all the codes.
No, when I send 911, it means that's what time it is because it's an angel number.
So Deb's saying the one time I trance channeled, it was a collective of higher dimensional ET guides. I can't remember most of what was said, just the energy of it. I know the vocabulary far exceeds mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I've had a lot of they're saying Galactic Federation, and then there's another one, the 13. There are 13 of them. I forget what they call themselves. There's a federation, and then there's a whole group of 13.
13.
Yeah. There's
13 is a pretty important number to me. So
that's me too.
Well, for people who know, I was my past life, actually in this world, in my past life, I did very bad things to very bad people. And we were always a team of 13. So we were actually known as the Ugly 13. So yes, so 13 has always been a part of my life as far as I know. So
it has mine too.
So Joe says,
I don't think for that reason. Council, thank you.
And he says, not Syrian, but another system. And Imani says
Arcturian
number. So yes.
Again, Arcturian, and then there's the Pleiadian.
Yep.
which is funny because I have been to both of those, but my soul originated. I'm Lyran originally, but then there were Arcturian. They've been coming through a lot.
She says, I don't know their collective name, just a visual on how they felt. Do you know how they looked? Debbie, do you know how they looked? Because that will help. Debbie,
it's funny because when I see these things, because we were probably Lyran together because we're both into the music and stuff, and there's a lot of we spoke through music, not words.
I know I was Arcturian at one time. That's the only one I know.
Probably Pleiadian too.
Yeah, that's I had. Yeah, you mentioned that to me before. I just haven't done the research to figure it out because my people haven't talked to your people. So, which literally means I have not gone out and got the information from you to talk to your people because I don't actually have people. I am my people. So
I do have people. Can hook you up.
I have people, but they're for all the wrong things. So if you need my people, that's really, really bad for whoever's on the other end of that line. So one of my Lyran guides, Wex, looked between a man and a lion with a cat-type nose and ears. The rest was human-like.
I think I was Lyran. I think I was avian and feline. I had several lifetimes as a Lyran.
Yeah.
But we didn't communicate verbally. We were telepathic when my soul originated. So speaking, oddly enough, is hard to communicate for me. That's why I stumble over my words. I use my hands a lot. I'm like, can't y'all just read my freaking mind?
Right. And if we will, those of us who are psychic can.
See, and that's why I swear that's why so many of my friends are at least intuitive to a degree,
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sending you pictures. Can't you just see them?
Just get me the coffee with the right stuff in it. Just bring it to me. Don't make me tell you how many.
in
right, and they're supposed to fill in the blanks. So
yeah.
She said, "This is all." Davey's like, "This is all beyond my understanding, but interesting to listen to." So hey, guess what, D? Welcome to the show. We go across so many things that is way beyond
D knows me.
And
D knows us.
Whatever. So I just smile, nod, and go along with it. That's what Alex does. I'm
a bobblehead.
I'm here to introduce and close the show. That's really what my job is. So Joe's saying, forgot which one was mine. White tiger with the white dim sun and black waters.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if we figured out which one that was, though. That was the white tiger. Huh. I'm not sure. But there was a lot of blue on that one, too.
And Melly's just saying, just put that information in. And then Debbie did say the rest of the group varied. Some looked Swedish and tall, blonde with blue eyes. Okay. There were 2 different types that were blue and 3 that were light beings, possibly angelic. Mm-hmm. So those were.
I want to say Pleiadian. Are the Pleiadians?
Yeah, that's the really tall. Yes, that's yes.
And then I remember being a light body before I was here, and I agreed to help Archangel Michael with fighting whatever we were fighting. And I remember I woke up, I was like, "What are we fighting?"
Yeah.
And didn't get the answer to that.
Yeah. How do communicate? I'm trying to figure out what is happening to me a few times where I'm waking up with what feels like I'm being held down, but I can't talk through my voice, like I'm being blocked from talking.
That's not how they communicate. That's not Pleiadian.
That's not Pleiadian. No. Yeah, she's done this a couple times here. I have not. I don't think I've been here. It hasn't been while we've been sleeping in bed at night. At least I don't think. I think it's been when she's kind of been on her own.
Yeah, that sounds a lot like sleep paralysis.
Yeah, but I don't sense that whatever it is malicious. I think it's just trying to get her attention, and it's just doing everything it can to get her attention. and get her to realize something, but I don't know what. Unfortunately, I'm unable to see this one. I get the feeling from it. But yeah, and here she said, I had someone tell me it was a little girl giving me a hug. So I really don't think I have not sensed it as a bad thing. And she says, so I was wondering if it was one of my spirit guides. I have not. I am terrible about sensing stuff in my own home. And really because I don't allow myself to see stuff in my own home. I really block myself when I'm at my house. So I'm not really aware, but the feeling I get is that it is not malicious or malevolent. It's not going through her rather than going after me. But I don't feel it that way. I feel it's not an evil presence in the house. I think if there was an evil presence in my house, I would definitely know, especially with my background. So
yeah, but don't let your ego, because it's not you, it's her.
Oh no, and that's I just try to sense it to try to give her security about it's not evil. So
well, it's not doing anything to hurt her. It's just not comfortable.
Right. It's
I don't know. I can remote view it.
It's different. It's odd. It's and it's new is the biggest thing. It's not like it happens all the time. It's just been very recent. So yeah, she's like, yeah, you're not reading our house like our Google Pod just playing music in our master bedroom just 15 minutes ago. I know. We always have stuff go off in our house. And it's been a lot more frequent lately than it has in the past.
Because we've got some portals that are open.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. I think that is.
Well, the Syrian portal is open too, so you have not just the Earth stuff, but then the Lion's Gate will be open on it's open and all of it's opening up and lining up right now. So you're heavily connected with the Lion's Gate.
I just
with Orion.
So yeah, I don't know that part, but I just read about that. The gate is opening, the Lion's Gate is opening, and it's lining up, and I was like, I need to know more about this, and I still don't know about it. So
everybody is so interested in the 8-8, but between 7-7 and 8-8, and it does it every year. So it's that part's not new. Things are lining up for the Lion's Gate thing, and it's just a different energy for manifesting and downloads and all kinds of stuff like that. So things energetically, things are shifting right now.
So we should expect an uptick, is what you're saying?
You should expect all kinds of things.
Woo, alrighty.
Yeah.
So Debbie does say that I see my higher self as a light body that's a hot pink light. I know. Sorry, that was my wife going, oh, great. So we were talking about stuff kind of ramping up because due to very recent circumstances, I get the feeling that there's going to be a huge growth amongst me and Nikki. So interesting.
Everybody I come into contact is on the path like that.
Yeah. Debbie's saying for me, none of them.
They don't even have mouths when I see them.
When I don't either. It's just like I can see the eyes. I can see like the smaller nose, but
there's no mouth.
There's nothing. Yeah. Yes, that's exactly how I see them too, which is interesting.
Yeah, because they don't have pictures. They don't have pictures that look like that. That's the way I see them.
But that's exactly how I've described them in the past to somebody else too. And so it's interesting that I'm seeing. We had to put something somewhere together. So yes.
Well, we all were. We're all soul tribes.
Yeah, I know, but odd. So.
But you see it now, and it's crazy when you see it. It's like, oh, that's cool when we get confirmation.
Yeah. But the downside of me, I mean, just me personally, is I'm really too lazy to do any of the research. So I just want everything fed to me.
Well, it will be. You'll just remember.
And that kind of seems like what happens. People are like, you need to meditate. I'm like, I don't know.
You'll just remember.
They're like, well, you need
a
to
lot
do
of
this.
it.
No, I'm too lazy to do that too. She said, I saw mouths, but they were just smiling. Their mouths didn't move. Oh, interesting. I don't
Mine
see
don't even have mouths.
anything at all.
And a lot of them have like a star on their forehead.
It's for me. It's the like the 8-pointed. The main
Yeah, it's not like a
main cardinals are the longer ones, and then the shorter the dual cardinals are the shorter ones. That's how I see it. So
I'll send you a picture of something that I actually have that looks almost identical.
I should probably not look at it, and I should draw my own out and then look at
yours.
So we should do that. All right. Well, I am going to wrap the show up.
All right.
We've been running for almost 2 hours.
Oh God.
Yeah, an hour 50 minutes. See, this is what happens. But I'm going to bring up Debbie's comment really quick because she says maybe that's just how they showed themselves to me, so I feel more comfortable.
Yeah, not everybody would be comfortable with not having a mouth, and I wondered if it's not because it's to show me that they're communicating telepathically for a visual.
Right. It could be because that's how I instantly saw them, was just no mouth. It very much reminded me of stuff I have seen in movies from the past, where they've dressed up their aliens and they just have no mouth.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. I can't find pictures either where they don't have mouths.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you and I run different movies, different movie genres.
Well, I don't watch a lot of TV.
Oh, well, that would be why. And I'm a TV nerd.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm a nerd in a lot of things. So let's just that's to go without saying. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and start shutting us down.
Okay.
We're going on to 2 hours. Like I said, I don't have a time limit, so we can talk however long we want. But I also know that I'm going to have you back on again if you're dumb enough to come back on.
Oh, totally.
That's your fault.
I'm blonde.
So
Totally.
Oh, see, and then my wife's calling me out. Oh my goodness. See, this is the stuff I got to deal with in this household. You're a little older than here too, so it's for different TV shows. So see, this is how I get called out. Of course, if Stuart's still on here, he'll be like, "That's not old." So, if
Joe
too,
Joe will chime in with calling us auntie and uncle.
Thank you, Imani. I much loved having you here. I always love having all of you on here because my audience really is to me like one big happy family. Because
which is awesome.
You all interact so well with each other and with us, and that's huge when you're trying to do a live stream. So that's what's awesome. I mean, I can ask Jamie questions all night long because I am a nerd like that and I want to know everything. But it really is nice to know that the audience is engaged as well, and they enjoy watching the show. And look, I'm already being told in caps, "Bring her back, bring her back." Debbie, much love. I appreciate you coming on.
Good night.
Nikki said it was a wonderful show.
Thank you.
So I knew she was excited to have you on here. She was, when you were in the audience, she's like, "You need to have her on your show." And I go, "I already have her scheduled. What do you think of that?" No. So yes. Dee, appreciate it. I hope you come back again.
Night, Dee.
It was really nice to have everybody on here. There's so many people tonight that you brought on. I mean, there's a handful of people I've never met before, and I hope they continue to be family and they come on here and watch this. So I'm looking forward to having you back. But again, like I said, next week I do have on, which I know you'll be here for. I do have on Jessica Jones, who is a cryptid huntress, is actually what her label
and
is.
She's from Georgia, isn't she?
Georgia. So
yeah, Dee will be interested in that.
Yes. So let me put this up here one more time so people know how to get a hold of you. Jamie, again, see all those numbers at the end of that whole Facebook thing? Just type in the Red Ribbon Spirit Work or call or text this number. This phone number is also out on that Red Ribbon Spirit Work. So go out there, check her out there. And also, people, if you want to go out there to Hawaiian Hauntings, again, all those numbers down there, just do a search for Hawaiian Hauntings. It's a private group. Answer the questions correctly. Don't be sarcastic like I was. And you should most likely be allowed in. As long as you're willing to follow the rules. Surprisingly enough, I haven't broken one of them yet. I'm kind of proud of myself. But I think I have an over-under of 1 month. So we'll see what goes. I think I'm at 2 weeks right now, so I'm pretty good. But anyways, I greatly appreciate you being on.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to put you just in the backstage so we can talk afterwards.
All right.
So don't run away, but I want to say goodnight to everybody else. So I will be right back with you.
Oh.
All right, everyone. Thank you for coming on to the show. I greatly appreciate it. Now I will finally throw up my nasty banner I got up here. As y'all possibly found me here, facebook.com, stuff I never learned from a school book. I actually have a Twitch account, twitch.tv/stuff I never learned. And I have a YouTube channel with a bunch of those ugly numbers and letters as well. But if you actually type in stuff I never learned from a school book on YouTube, that will pop up as well. If you go out to my Facebook site, I actually have an email that you can get out to as well. It's actually the stuff I never learned, like this right here, stuff I never learned @gmail.com. So you can reach me out there as well. If you can't watch the show live, but you want to interact with us, send me questions that you have or comments you have ahead of time, and I will ask them live on air. I don't have a problem doing that. If you have to watch the recordings and that's the only way you can get to us, great. But if you want to partake, send me an email. Send me a message. Let me know what you want to know about. I'll bring on guests to talk about that stuff, or I'll answer it myself, or whatever else. Other than that, I want you all to have a great night. Let me see what any of the other comments are. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. And hopefully I will see everybody Monday. Remember, my guest on Monday is Jessica Jones. She's known as the Cryptid Huntress. She is absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Debbie. I love the fact that you're sharing my live to your group. I really appreciate that. I'm hoping to grow this family even more because I believe it is a great area for anyone who wants to learn about their abilities, find out if they have any, just want to experience stuff like this. It's a great environment, family environment for people to come to. And I'm hoping to grow the community more with everybody so they have a place to come and talk to like this, judgment-free, a place they don't feel like they're under any scrutiny at all or anything else. That's really what this is about. It's to grow this. It's really to grow this family. We're all tied together one way or another. And I am so appreciative that a year ago, I found out that I have abilities and I have become such a huge part of this family. So much love to everybody. I appreciate it very much. Thank you again, Debbie. Thank you, Davey. I appreciate that. And hopefully I will see you all next week. Other than that, look for the advertisements and commercials. I put them out every week for the people who are coming on the show. And I love you all. Have a great night, and I will talk to you soon.